My name is Matt Thomas, and I'm a program marshal for the class of 2021. Next, Marie Konopacki will deliver the Ivy Oration as she reflects on our journey with levity and humor. The pride of Quincy House in Diamond Head, Mississippi, Marie is a woman of many interests and talents. In the span of a year, she switched concentrations from government to computer science to art, film, and visual studies. Per her roommates, she's now a coding queen and fashion maven who once locked eyes with J. Cole. Having been in the Lampoon and Advocate, on campus she's famous for her art, her wit, and her robot dance, all three of which are equally unparalleled. Known to crochet her own tops and have been an early investor in GameStop, she's both an old soul and ahead of her time. As a first-generation student, she is determined to combine her computer science and artistic skills to focus on accessibility and diversity in all that she creates. With that, I could not be more excited to introduce our Ivy Orator, Marie Konopacki.
We remember March 10th, 2020, the day Harvard told us they were sending us home like it was yesterday. Well, actually, some of us only remember that morning. The afternoon, on the other hand, was such a blur. I can only guess what I was doing, but knowing me, I was probably doing my homework or something. I did have a pounding headache later that night, which must have been from studying so hard. I actually recently saw some pictures from that day of crowded courtyards and tons of people on the street. It must have been the world's biggest study break. It really warmed my heart. Let me tell you, parents and faculty, during that last week on campus, we all really focused on our education. Harvard was actually one of the first colleges in the country to send its students home, but how did they know so early on? Clearly, Harvard has access to critical, secret information that allows it to make insanely accurate predictions. Thus, Harvard administration, I have one question I'd like the answer to. Am I too late to invest in Dogecoin? Even though we've been at Harvard for 4 years, I'm only just now realizing the extent of its mysteriousness. A friend from home recently asked me what our college's mascot is, and I could not give an answer. While I know that we're the Harvard Crimson, that's an abstract idea that doesn't physically exist. It's like being called the Harvard Dreams or the Harvard Multicultural Center. It makes sense we overlooked our missing mascot since none of us go to sports games. But it's not like we're unathletic. Look around you. There have never been so many high school cross-country team captains on one campus. It makes me wonder, amongst all of the high schoolers in the world, how did Harvard select which ones were the most deserving of one day experiencing Mather Lather? I mean, it seems their admissions process is almost flawless, give or take a few rescinded pre-frosh. But besides them, Harvard had faith and saw potential in us that maybe we didn't see at the time. Like their investment in fossil fuels, it shows that Harvard truly believes in things, even if we don't. But sometimes Harvard surprises us by doing something we really needed. I, for one, love that they got rid of Harvard time since it gives me an ample 15 minutes to walk from one Zoom meeting to another. There are also a few other questions I have about Harvard that remain unanswered. What type of fish is Red's best catch? What does praxis mean? And who was going to be the Yard Fest artist last year? Unfortunately, we'll never know. Even if they told us the name of the Yard Fest artist, we still wouldn't know who they are. As it's our time to graduate, it still feels like we're not ready to move on. There are so many experiences and traditions we missed. I still haven't done you-know-what on the John Harvard statue or peed in the Widener stacks. And Primal Scream. The people who are most sad about this esteemed tradition being canceled last year are not the students, but rather the strange middle-aged locals who lurk with camcorders. If you receive a suspicious email inviting you to virtual Primal Scream, do not click on the link. Instead, wait for the class committee's email with a link to the official virtual Primal Scream. It's scary to think that only 6 months from now, our Harvard email addresses will become inactive. We will lose the things we always thought were constant. 1, our Spotify student discounts, and 2, our place on the Harvard Dems email list. The passage of time is like the quad shuttle. It slips past you, and as soon as you realize you've missed it, it's too late. For those of you that live on the river, the quad shuttle is like your path. It's there, but you don't use it. As we leave college, some people might tell us, welcome to the real world. Let's be honest though, we've been in the real world for over a year now, ever since I had to purchase silverware for the first time in my life. When the pandemic started, many of us had to live on our own, even if we weren't ready yet. Nothing Harvard teaches could have prepared us for dealing with something even worse than freshman proctors: landlords. Could you imagine if you informed your resident dean that your dorm has a rat in it and they said, deal with it? At least in Adam's house, the dean would have kindly informed you that that is your little roommate, and he's a double legacy. I also learned what the value of $1 was, which turns out to be about 5 ramen packets, a scratch-off ticket, or a Whopper on Wednesdays. I also had to learn the value of $800, which for my roommates and I was a single electricity bill. When Harvard told us this year would be remote, I initially thought, what a sad way to end our college experience. But on the bright side, I haven't heard the little bell ringers in over a year, and I probably never will again. In a way, it evens out. Big kudos to the groups that seamlessly made the virtual transition. For instance, a cappella groups found new and ingenious ways of performing remotely, and I found new and ingenious ways of ignoring them. Despite all of its flaws, I will miss some parts of this odd digital education we got. My typing speed has never been faster, and my eyesight has never been worse. Breakout rooms put me face to face with incredible people I never would have met. Did we exchange any words? No. To the single student who consistently kept their camera on in a 400-person weekly Zoom lecture, your bravery does not go unnoticed. However, the other 399 of us stayed incredibly well rested. That being said, class of 2021, thank you for the memories, and we'll make even more on our senior trip next week. See you all in Cabo!